What is up? You got Carter. You got Crawford.
Welcome back. I'm back. I'm a little broken.
So this
I'm a little
guy,
broken
this
up,
guy
but I'm
breaks
back.
his knee or something.
It almost. I mean, thankfully it didn't actually break. Last Tuesday, two Tuesdays nights ago, I thought it was broken, but. I mean, the paramedics didn't really help
You're
me
here.
much.
Thank God for
They
free
didn't.
healthcare.
That free healthcare didn't cost me a single dime, man. Thank you, Canadian government.
Yeah, and you'll have to pay for the ambulance ride, maybe.
I didn't have to pay for the ambulance
didn't?
rid,
Oh,
but I
I
did
got
have to
out of
buy the
line 2
crutches,
weeks ago.
which is
Really?
fair.
Yeah.
Oh, $40? What is it, like 40 bucks, something like that?
$160 a few years ago, but
Ooh.
I was in a couple weeks ago, and I haven't gotten the bill yet. So.
When I was
Right on.
when I was a kid, I broke my arm a couple times, and one of the times I broke my arm, they had to take me in an ambulance, and my dad was there, and he fainted on the scene.
Oh, no.
And then
Yeah,
we got a bill for both of the rides instead of just
No,
one of
no
them.
way.
Same ambulance, but we got two bills.
They're
for
like,
it.
look,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
this is two different patients.
Yeah, it's the most expensive taxi ride you'll ever have. It's
Yeah,
like $45
it's
across
true.
town in Chatham, and across town in Chatham is not very far.
It's
so
like
you guys are
less
aware.
than 5 minutes.
No, let me introduce my guest. So we have Astin Clarke. He's already been on the mic. This is I'm really excited for this because this is you're 27.
Yeah.
But you've been making like raps and lyrics, and you've been putting things together since you were 12. So
A
15
long
years
time.
now.
Yeah.
So you've really got you're behind it. You're getting to a level now where you're starting to gain some recognition, and that's what this show's about is gaining. How do we actually get to that? And you're in the thick of it, so you're probably one of the best people to ask
The
questions
best
to.
you've gotten
So,
to the point.
Yeah,
15 years.
just so
Yeah.
everybody knows, Astin's from Barrie. He has a couple songs that you should check out. These are the most popular ones: "Best Friends" and "Sad Piece."
Side
We'll
piece.
talk about that in a sec. Did I say it wrong?
Side piece.
Side piece.
piece.
I thought it was sad piece,
No,
bro. I was
no.
like, what?
Well,
I don't
you know,
know. It's art. Thank you
She
for
might
correcting-
be sad, but she's the side piece.
Oh,
She
okay,
was the
okay.
side piece.
First and
though.
foremost,
It's a
she's a side piece.
a
She's probably not
sad
happy
side
about
Not
it.
happy about that. She is not happy about that. That is why she is sad.
No,
right
sorry,
now. That
guys.
is
It's
why.
called
She's a
side
sad
piece.
piece.
Side
There's
piece.
the,
Side
there's
piece.
the next follow-up
Yeah,
track
yeah.
right there. You know? It's a side sad. It's a sad side
Let's
piece.
do a parody for DriveWire. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Listen,
Let's do it.
no, this
down.
guy's actually licensed by Sprite. He has the song "Best Friends" is in a commercial with LeBron James, which is
It
pretty
is.
damn cool,
It's
man.
crazy.
is,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
So tell us, like, how did you start? Where did it start? Who are you?
Yeah, like, introduce yourself, my friend.
So it all started in the north end of Barrie, Ontario. Great place to leave.
I've heard some things about the place. I've been there a couple times
Yeah,
snowmobiling. It's a great
uh,
place snowmobile. Other than
It's
that,
cool. It has a lot of recreation. You know, I always
Yeah.
like to say it's the hub of Ontario. You're
Nice.
a half an hour away from the largest freshwater beach,
Yes.
an hour away from the fifth largest city in North America,
Yes.
and then Muskoka is an hour north as
Muskoka
well,
north,
which is
yeah.
well renowned for camping
Yeah.
and you know ATVing.
And
and you got
stuff like
Algonquin
that.
as well.
You
You
have
know, just
Algonquin isn't too
couple
far.
hours,
There's
yeah.
a couple hours up north as well. So it's a good place to be.
I want to move to Barrie now.
It's
you know?
got no culture though. You know? There's not a big culture. Like we were saying while we were walking in, you know, you guys got the station here, the college in Barrie.
No
There's
station?
no station. There's no music. There's no, you know, so there's.
and
a
that really
decent
helps
music
with the
scene.
students and stuff. And
It for sure, and there's also a lot of great musicians coming out of Barrie. So it's not that there's not, you know,
There's not
the
talent there.
talent there.
There's
It's
talent
just there's
there.
not really the outreach for it. I will tip my hat to the city of Barrie. They're reaching into culture and they're trying to
starting.
dive in now.
Right
They're
on.
really trying, but we're still not
getting
quite
there.
where I would like them to be. So you know, lots of room to grow.
some room to grow, which is
Yeah,
good. You know,
so-
water the garden.
Exactly. So when I was coming up, I was 10. You know, I started playing the guitar and writing lyrics for that. My cousin and my brother were a part of a rap trio called the First Kings Family, and I just kind of watched them do their thing for a year or two, and thought, well, I'll try my hand at this.
Yeah,
Started
this is
writing,
cool. I like
writing
it.
some raps, and showed my cousin one day, and he was like, "Dude, let's go
do this.
into the booth."
Into the
recorded
booth,
my
man.
first song at 13, and just haven't stopped since, man. Hasn't stopped. That was my home. So
Now, did the first track at 13 land with the people? Did they like it?
know-
Did they like it? Was it a hit right from the start? Like, were they like, this guy is fire?
he would have by no means put me into the booth had he not seen
believe in
something.
you, right?
I had some
Yeah.
natural talent. Really not sure where it came from. My brother and cousin in my nuclear family, we're the first two to show any interest in music.
Right
And my
on.
dad used to bounce old rock shows. He actually walked Hulk Hogan down to the
Whoa.
ring.
That's
in,
the
in one
coolest.
of the first
Yeah, brother.
WrestleManias.
Yeah, brother. That's
Got
really cool,
spit on
brother.
while they were walking into the ring. So
Oh,
he,
my
he Saw,
goodness.
he saw Guns N' Roses before they were Guns N' Roses.
Before they were guns.
Saw
What?
them. These guys. My dad's like, who are these guys? And I'm like, oh, new band coming up, Guns N' Roses. So he'd been in and out of the security
Like, this
side
guy's
of it.
pretty cool,
That
man.
was
It's a
supposed to be Sweet Child of
Sweet
Mine.
child of
Yeah,
mine,
by
yeah.
Crawford.
Really, my tunes aren't great.
little
My
toned down.
my tones are a little rough. You know.
So, I'm not sure if that stemmed into me liking music, but nonetheless,
Cool, man.
music's
It
part of
happened.
everybody's
And
lives.
why did you stick with it? Because for me, to be frank, at the beginning it was to look cool. I'm gonna be 100%. It was totally to look cool.
Hey, ladies that got a guitar and know how to play it.
But that slowly morphed into like, damn, this thing is challenging me every day. The music itself is the same, but I'm different each day. And
Yeah.
some days you feel like a king, and some days you feel like a peasant
Dude.
from the same guitar. You
Yeah.
you resonate with
Yeah,
that?
he's-
Absolutely. On the way down, I was thinking, I was like, I can imagine where this is going to go in some of these conversations. And that was it for me. It's like, people that sometimes will perceive you as like cocky, but it's like, as an artist, you're either full blown think you're the best or you think you're the worst
You're not-
on planet
yeah.
Earth. And it's just like, if you can walk in the middle, that's great for you, but it's like, for me at least, I need to I'm
be
either
the best.
super cocky
Yeah.
and you don't like it. Well, that's fine because I don't like myself half the time either. So welcome to the club.
This
I'm the
is-
president. We got a newsletter. You'll get it in the mail.
And right there, though, you're at the top. Then you're back at the top.
Exactly,
Always
right?
put yourself at the top.
Yeah, and I feel like people can resonate with that. Everybody doubts themselves and everything they do.
No, that's huge.
How have you
So
dealt with
it's-
that?
Yeah.
Honestly, man, just not stopping.
Never giving up?
The other day, I made a status. I'm like, in my head, you're the worst, da-da-da-da-da. You should stop rapping, hang it up. And then I went and wrote a verse, and I was like, that was the dopest
was
thing I've
dope,
written
yeah.
in months. I'm like, okay, maybe I haven't lost it. I'm still good.
I
Like,
gotta
and it's
beat
just
myself
not-
up to build myself
just
up.
not
like-
stopping. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to be an artist, especially
Definitely.
coming up in this day and age where there's saturation.
I'd say
of
there's
music.
so much noise in the
So much
market that
noise.
to get that frequency that you can resonate with that person and the people that matter, you got to fight and you got to be like again though the best of the best,
Yeah.
and that's what you shoot
So
for.
I'm wearing these stupid glasses right now.
Those-
Just turning some heads.
it's
man.
cool, man.
Yeah.
You get attention. We've
Yeah.
had like 10 people looking here. You're just like, it's up. Don't worry about it. We're just
Yeah.
doing our thing.
I
you know?
bought these when I was on tour in Groningen, which is just an hour north of Amsterdam, and I was like, okay, like it must be just like a European type
European
thing.
look.
For those of you who can't see, they're like a flip-up style sunglass.
When you flip it up,
like-
I see Logic. When you flip it
Yeah,
down, I see
yeah.
like a
And
cooler
so-
Logic.
and
like
Anderson .Paak. So I bought them there, and then even people were looking at me there. I'm like, oh, these are just like weird
These are
looking
just good
glasses
lot.
in general. I'm like, that's cool.
this is the only
This is all
pair.
me.
This is the pair.
Yeah,
and I
for
have
sure,
them.
for sure.
That's awesome. I mean, that's how you got to do that. We've even when I remember when we had Nikki P on, that's what she says. You get attention by having the look.
Yeah.
The look is what gets the attention. It gets the talk and
For
it gets
sure.
the focus.
I have a really similar pair,
Yeah.
but instead of them being flip on, they're straight through and they're red.
Okay.
So I wish I was wearing them today.
Yeah.
But that's what she
yeah,
said.
I was
She-
gonna say
Twin-
you had
we
the
could
yeah,
twin
you
it.
got the like Elton
that
John
would've been
glasses,
sweet.
like
they're really
60s
similar.
style.
Yeah, and we got
They're
the beads
sick.
going on and everything.
Yeah, I'm all about
Listen,
the
Carter and
bracelets,
Astin are
man.
pretty close together. I don't know. Maybe I'll get a license deal to
There you
Sprite.
go.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll
We'll
do
see.
an Astin Carter. How about that?
Oh, there you go. Get the collab in. Get
Let's
the collab
do
in.
And then
it.
we'll do our first single is sad piece.
Sad piece. It's a sad piece.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Listen, we got Astin Clarke in studio, and you got Crawford, you got Carter, you got the rest of the team. We're gonna go to our first break. We have Step It Up by Classified and myself by Raz here at CFRE DriveWire Radio. Catch us, bro. Woo! What's up? You got Carter, you got Crawford, you got Astin
And
Clarke.
Ric Flair, apparently.
Yeah,
too.
you-
Ric Flair.
You always get Ric Flair every
once in a while,
episode.
just
He
about.
appears.
Yeah, that's true. That's
You gotta
true.
get the soundbite. Just
Yeah.
We've
Well,
been-
you gotta have Hulk and you gotta have Ric Flair, brother.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing at the house. We
It's
moved
just
into.
been
Brother,
working.
everybody's talking like this, brother. I don't know what's about. So listen, man. Listen, man.
Man,
Okay,
come on,
okay.
man.
How
Talk real,
I want to talk
man.
about licensing deal.
Yes.
How did you go from writing raps? You're starting with guitars. You wrote raps for 12-ish years.
Yeah.
When did the licensing deal happen?
So it's important to kind of backtrack past that.
Okay.
So I was Urban Havoc for the majority of my music career. 2016, I started writing a song. It was very R&B, auto-tune, melodyne, bass song. And,
Things that
it
were
was,
working very well.
It was 2016, so it was really on point with all of that. Prior to that, I had never really dabbled in anything that new sounding. It was more underground. So that sparked opportunity for me to rebrand. So from Urban Havoc, somebody introduces Urban Havoc and a scrawny little white dude steps out on stage. It's like, maybe not the right name for you. So I went with something a little bit more marketable,
Works.
Astin Clarke. And from there, I did the rebrand, did a really good video with it, dropped a song, went into the studio in Toronto. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Nonetheless, went and recorded it, and then my manager now hit me up in 2016. He had done a rebranding that same year.
Oh.
So he goes, "I love what you did.
Yeah.
Like, what
Let's
is?" And
do
he's
it.
like, "You did it all yourself?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, let's sit in, let's make a record, and we'll see what happens."
See
So
where it goes.
we made the record. Best Friends was the lead single. And then that year would have been 2017. Northern Power Summit had its conference, and David Heyman came out and did a panel about music licensing.
Nice.
So he's walking around the audience, and as you guys know, he's very approachable,
Friendliest
dude,
guy ever,
super
man.
friendly. So
Yeah.
I just felt free to walk up to him and start talking, and he goes, "Bro, just send me some music." And Atwell really took the lead on it, but nonetheless, we sent him music. As sync licensing deals usually go, they pick the instrumental over the full track.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, but fortunate
I
enough
mean,
for
they
me,
heard the full track
they
to want to
heard it,
pick the
they did.
instrumental, right? That's
And then,
exactly it.
They did. So fortunately, Atwell, the way that we made the album was I would go in, we would chill, smoke, drink, start talking, catch a vibe. He would start making the beat. I'd start writing to it. He gave me
Oh.
15% of the production rights
Nice.
because of artistic influence, and so that was really cool for
That's
him.
huge, yeah.
And then when the licensing deal came about, I was like, oh damn, I have a hand in the production of the rights.
This
so
whole thing, yeah.
when we got paid out, I actually got to see some of the money,
So-
which isn't very common for
Right.
an
Yeah, I've
artist.
heard
and
that
I
that doesn't
love that.
happen a lot.
Not for a writer.
So
no,
let's break this
no.
down. So let's break this down a little bit. So in basic terms for the audience,
Yeah.
can you actually explain why it is so rare for the artist to actually get some of the writing credits?
So the way that, I mean, and I'm not a complete expert on this, but the way that it works is there's a master and then there's publishing rights to the song,
Right.
which are two different things.
Right.
And usually producers retain the publishing rights over forking it out to the artist. And again, because licensing deals primarily use instrumentals, the writer of the lyrics usually
Would use the full track, maybe
they would use the
there.
full track. Then he would
Yeah.
get some. Then he would get some money out of it.
That's where he gets the credit
That's where
versus
he
the
gets the credit.
producer who made the track.
But when the producer sells the instrumental, he
It's
has
all
the
him,
publishing rights still.
essentially,
So it's
yeah.
all him. Yeah.
But that's huge then for you to be able to have that chunk of the pie essentially from that producer
Yeah.
because you were influential to it. If you weren't there doing it with him, it wouldn't be created.
It wouldn't have sounded the same. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Because
that's
he
the thing.
also not only did he make it while I was there, he made it afterwards around that. So he was listening to the vocals. Okay, he does this flow. I'm gonna change up the
I'm
drum
gonna change
pattern here. I'm gonna
this
change
and-
the hi hats here because of the flow
That's
that I had written to
collaboration.
it.
It's
so
collaboration.
yeah,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have sounded the same had I not written to what I wrote to it,
Yeah.
and it did. It crafted what the final instrumental sounded like. So he was my manager and my producer. Did he have to? Probably not. Did he? Yes.
Yes,
And that's
and
why we're still rocking
That's
together.
why you guys are
Yeah.
a team, yeah.
And you add value, right? Like that's one thing. Like nobody on a particular team will stay if they don't feel like they're getting a fair
Right.
share.
Yeah.
You have to share, and so he did, which is really intelligent. And it's so important for people to know because had I not been told this by actually Paul Sanderson, the lawyer we
Yeah, the
had on the
lawyer.
show,
Yeah.
he was explaining, look, like you can have 100% of the recording rights, so the record can be yours, but they can bypass you by creating the same song and getting the publishing rights,
Yeah.
and they just do it. their own, it sounds exactly the same, their own recording of the same song, and you didn't have to pay for the second layer of rights.
Yeah.
And so
You
it's
just
so
jump
important
over
for
the
artists
guy.
to understand that when you write a song, if you record it yourself and you have written it, you have two separate versions of rights. There's rights on the actual recording, and there's rights on the publishing of your music. And it's so important to get those things hashed out, especially if you get a licensing deal with
deal.
Sprite in a LeBron James commercial.
It's pretty lucrative.
Money
so,
shows
you know,
up.
That, like I said, that 15%. I'm obviously not to disclose.
No,
No,
we would
no,
never ask,
no,
but you're
we
not
would
you're not
not,
complaining.
But it was a good chunk of change
Yeah.
for a kid at a Barrie, man. And I think
Yeah.
the best part of it was I'm not really a sports fan per se,
Fair.
but it was Raptors were in the first round that year that it had been picked up,
That it
so
got
it had
picked
been
up.
playing
That's-
at the playoffs.
I say, and that's a home. That means like that feels good because that's your town.
I'm
I mean,
out at a bar drinking, sports bar, and then it comes on, and I'm like, oh damn, that's my. And I
stand
run
up on the bar like
stand up,
this is my song.
Put my ear up to the speaker. People are looking over like, what is this little boy doing over
Yeah.
here? And I'm just like head up to the speaker, just losing my mind because
This is
I just
it.
my
This is
music
mine, man. This
on
is my
live
music.
television. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And
then I
how
had
many millions of people are watching that?
so many people. So I was out with my publisher in New York for the Grammys in 2018, and he's showing me on like a spreadsheet how many markets it's playing in, and he's scrolling, and he goes, 1,000 here, 1,000 there, 1,000 here, 1,000 there, and it's just markets on markets on markets, and the numbers are crazy, and we're like still getting back-end payments from all of that. So,
Really? So the payments are still flowing in from
So
it?
there's an upfront payment that they gave us,
Yep.
and then they gave us the back end, which
And that's for the people that pick up the commercial and put it on their
just
station.
pure
and things like that.
residuals and everything like that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's what we're aiming at, right? Like if you're, I'm really happy to have this conversation because we've been saying for a long time, this job, this show, this whole everything we're doing is designed to find people who are doing it and talk openly about how it was made.
How
and
they
Yeah.
did it.
that
how they
residual is
got
what
there.
we're aiming at.
Yeah,
That's what we want.
Yeah, that's the forever money.
2 years
yes.
ago,
It's like LeBron James. He's always going to be relevant. So it's like every time that gets renewed,
Boom.
what's up?
yeah.
What's up? Paycheck in my mailbox.
Yeah,
But
You know,
that's it.
thank
That's
you,
it.
LeBron
Like,
James.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson's been dead for a long time, but
how many
his
millions has he still
estate,
made?
350 million in 2017.
Really?
Right there.
That's 1 year.
2017, 350
And
million
that's
on
just
Michael Jackson.
because of his name
'Kay.
and
Yeah.
what he's created
Like,
in 1 year.
he's not even around.
Nope.
No.
So this is what we're aiming at, and there's a bigger chunk of change given to artists who take themselves seriously and reach a level that Astin's reached.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a lot. I almost swore. Like it takes so much to get to that
Yeah.
point, and people fall off along the way.
Yeah.
It's not
And
that
the-
you can't do it. You just have to persist.
You
Keep
gotta
going.
And that's
persist, yeah.
as we were saying earlier. What did you do to not just don't stop?
You just don't
You
stop.
just can't stop. And it's like if it's not for you and you really feel like deep down that you're not right for it, then hang it up. But it's just like if you still have that drive in you, just don't stop.
And that's the thing. It's like there is. I mean, it says "Don't stop." It's such take that to heart.
Yeah.
But at the same point, it's like if things aren't actually working, your drive is dried up, warmer
Yeah.
than bread that's been sitting out in sun for a couple weeks. Like you don't have the drive, you don't have the aspiration. Give up because it is not what you're trying to.
Yeah,
It's not
if-
your cup of tea, and
if-
you could aspire so much better in somewhere else.
Yeah, like if somebody can convince you to stop doing this, you were never meant to do it in the first place.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts, especially when you're having a conversation and then the conversation just ends up turning into them convincing you to stop doing it.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
holy
if
shit.
you can let somebody in your head and they break you, though, you were never strong
You were
enough
never
to do
strong
this
enough,
because
yeah.
there's going to be so many people in your ear, and if you let them into your head, it's
done.
over.
I resonate with that on a level, man. I cannot emphasize enough how much that matters to me because the number of people that will say dumb shit, like
Me on the daily.
how about this one? How about this one? You should think realistic.
Yeah. Oh,
How
dude,
about-
there's
get-
nothing realistic
Yes.
about any of
There's
this.
literally
I don't-
nothing
I don't-
realistic about anything in our universe. So no, I
I
shouldn't
wouldn't be
think.
able to take that
What-
comment.
or,
seriously if
or
somebody told me
get
that,
a
like-
real job, or how long are you gonna give this until you quit, or like I've heard all of these things, and my freaking answer is like until I'm in the grave,
Until I'm
bro. This
dead,
is who
yeah.
I am. Like
But
I'm
it's
not.
like you could say the same thing to someone trying to start a restaurant. You know, half of restaurants fail in the first 2 years or something,
Unfortunately,
right? So it's like,
unfortunately,
but nobody turns ahead with, I'm starting my own restaurant. Nobody goes, well, don't you know how many restaurants fail? It's like
That's true.
nobody says
Yeah,
it's
don't
not
you
the
know how
first
hard that
thing.
is?
Yeah, it's
Unless it's got a bad name, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that one's probably
Yeah.
not gonna work, man. I'm sorry, but
But it's like, and also
They're not
another
beating
thing
each
for
other
me,
up.
it's like, I could land anywhere in the music industry and be okay. You know, I might not end up being a superstar, but as long as I'm doing something in the music industry for the rest of my life, dude,
You're enjoying
that's
it.
still
You're having
winning.
fun.
You're still
you're
winning.
making money. You're
man.
you're not going negative at all.
No.
You know, it's still creating content, still
You know,
making
look
connections.
at, you know, the atmosphere of the game, you know? Dude is by atmosphere. Anybody? No? Yeah? Okay.
Sorry, guys.
No,
I'm
Minnesota love. He's a rapper,
Oh.
but he's like super big on like festival circuits and stuff. And he has a label out of Minnesota, Rhyme Sayers. And yeah, like by no means is he super famous, but successful. Absolutely,
very successful.
Absolutely.
I say I don't know him, but he does very well for himself.
Oh,
Clearly,
he's really dope. No, he's
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
I'll have
he's
to check him out.
Is the atmosphere or just atmosphere?
So Atmosphere, it's a hip hop duo. The rapper, his name is Slug, but his duo is Atmosphere. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna look that up
AT,
later.
yeah.
I will. I
They're
will.
good.
I love finding new stuff like
Yeah,
that.
new-
I really
new
do.
Super
rap.
Midwest.
Maybe
Big
we'll
dog.
get it on air sometime. I don't know. Maybe we
Okay,
have
I'm a
nods. We have nods. It'd be dope.
director.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So listen, like when you're coming up through the ranks, let's call it. Doesn't matter guitar, doesn't matter rap, doesn't matter piano, doesn't matter even producing
singing,
skills,
you know,
A&E
yeah,
skills, singing.
producing.
You go through like this, I'm going to call it the dip. It's like this part where you're not really that good.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Everyone.
Yeah,
everyone.
It's a rite of passage. If you're going to get good, you have to be
gotta
bad
be
first.
bad to
You
get good.
have to
Yeah.
be. It is a law.
Yeah.
How did you build your skills? What did you do?
So I think that was the blessing for me is starting at the age of 12 is
Yeah.
that when you're, you know, there is the phenomenons out there that are incredible at the age of 14, but then for the most people, they're still in that learning curve. I had the pleasure of having that learning curve when I was young where no one really expects you to be that good. Whereas I feel like you start rapping at 24 and you have that 3-year learning curve. So you're 27 by the time you finally found your
Trying to
wave.
figure it out, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like Gashi just got signed to Rock Nation, popped off when he was 29. So it's like,
True.
and he did. He started, I think, when he said he was 24. So, you know,
It took a
5
little while.
years.
It just, you know, it wasn't what he knew when he was younger. And
Yeah, exactly. You know, and I've got friends that are 40, I got friends that are 50. They're still finding themselves. So it's like if you don't know who you are in your mid 20s, it's like, yeah, welcome to the club.
Welcome to life,
Nobo-
man.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
And
We're
if you
all
do,
figuring it out.
You're one of the lucky few if you know exactly who you are, your morals and your ethics and everything already figured out.
Things
So,
change, though. I
Oh.
mean, I think, and that's the one thing I always like to try to keep myself in perspective with is that, you know, it's like every 5 to 7 years, things are going to change. You know,
Exactly.
if things aren't changing every 5 to 7 years, I'm not doing something right. I'm not
Yeah.
changing things up. You know, I'm not.
And that's why I don't,
something's not
that's
getting
why I don't
shaped.
have like a 5-year plan. It's like,
No.
dude, you can't.
You
This-
can't,
not in this
yeah.
day and age. Like, you know, people are blowing up on TikTok right now. That wasn't around 2
That
years
was-
ago.
I mean,
so if
remember
your
Vine?
5-year plan consisted of exactly
You know,
Vine, you
it's
know,
gone now, but people were blowing up on that for 6 months,
if
and
you-
then they're gone.
if you had a plan based around, you know, a certain thing like that, TikTok or Vine, it's like you don't know what those
don't
things
know
are going to
what's
be in
gonna
a few
bring,
years.
yeah.
So plan less ahead, you know, more spontaneity.
And that's kind of what I've always kind of explained to people because, you know, I mean, people won't remember this, but you can ask anybody that I've known really well for the last, you know, almost not decade, but a long time. And they ask you, you know, what's your 3 to 5 year plan? It's like, I don't even have a 6-month plan, man.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out now. I know what I want to maybe do in 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can't, you build a ladder over time. You don't just have a ladder built. You know,
I don't know
like-
if you have a 6-hour plan, bro.
That's
I'm trying to
usually
eat-
to
I'm
nap,
trying to
man.
eat at
I'm
some
trying to
point.
eat and nap, man. 6 to 8 hours trying to eat and nap, son. That is my 6-hour plan. And you understand how hard it can be with 6 months.
Yeah,
I'll be
man.
napping and eating, but I don't know what I'll be doing. You know?
But the points you guys are making are exactly right. Like the landscape is changing so fast.
So
You know what I mean?
fast. Yeah.
Entirely new distribution centers of where you can get your art are showing up at such a ridiculous rate. Like you almost going on kind of like Gary Vee and what's out there in the marketplace. Like you really want to be on the ones first.
Yeah.
Because like then if it does pop off, then you win. And if it doesn't, then you learned everything you needed to. So the
Along
next
the
one
way.
that you're on first, it can pop off.
Yeah, what not to do.
You know what I
not
mean?
to
There's
do,
so
yeah.
many like.
Yeah, shouts to Gary Vee, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you like that guy?
Love Gary Vee,
Listen,
man.
man,
Love Gary Vee.
almost every single person who's come on this
They've
show with an
lived-
entrepreneur, like
yeah.
every single one of them. Nikki
Yeah.
P gave a shout out to him. Words Like Wildfire gave a shout out to him.
Yeah.
Astin Clarke's giving a shout out to him.
Yeah, no,
Listen, we
he's-
got to get
There's-
that cat on this show. If he rolls
we
through
reach
Toronto,
out to him.
Yeah, let's
reach
give him a
out to
ring.
him.
Let's give
You
him a
know
ring.
he would show. You
I'm
know
telling
he'd
you,
come
man,
and
that would
talk
be such a good
talk our
conversation
ears off.
because it is an entrepreneurial vibe. You
Yeah.
know, the music and entrepreneurship right on top of one another, right?
Yeah.
So that's what this show's about.
Yeah, when I was in New York in 2018, I reached out to his team, and I got an email back from one of the guys there, Tyler Schmidt, and I think he has a hand in the Monday to Monday playlist that they curate for Gary.
Nice.
And
That's
I
a cool job.
almost linked up a meeting with him. So
Oof.
almost.
That'd be pretty cool.
Almost
would've
this
been
time.
cool.
Next time's guaranteed.
And then it was using the the licensing deal, the Sprite deal, just hoping that I could appeal to the sports fan in him to sit down with me even for
I got an idea
even
for
a
you.
minute.
I got an idea for you.
Okay, let's hear it.
Hit Barstool Sports up, Barstool
Yeah,
TV.
yeah.
You know, they're always probably looking for something.
Yeah,
They're from
no
Boston.
kidding.
They're always, they'll take it.
Yeah.
And then once you're in the Barstool, then you're like, I'm going to use you guys to get Gary Vee, man.
Yeah,
Because
I love the
they
pizza
can make the
review.
connection, man. Those guys, they'll got the connection. I
Yeah.
don't know. Great. I mean, maybe idea.
There
I
you
don't know.
go. There you go. I'm gonna run with it.
I like that, man. I like that. So we don't have very much time before our next break.
We're just kind of it's flying along.
Yeah.
The episodes where the conversation flows, the questions happen.
Here's one of my favorite questions, and I always get different answers. And I think I've asked it on every single episode.
My break tradition.
Why are you looking at me like that? Dom's like giving me weird looks. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Favorite soccer team? Yeah, I get it.
No, we're staying away from favorite soccer team. What are some skills that have served you that aren't musical?
Patience.
Patience is a
Patience.
good ass
It's a
answer.
real good answer.
Patience. Everyone thinks that it's going to happen overnight just because of the Post Malones in the world. And, and then
Post Malone happen overnight kind of deal?
relatively, I think
okay.
I think he had a foot in, and they like to make it seem
Just kind of popped
like
out of
it
nowhere.
pops up. And then when I really didn't believe his story was when he's like, oh yeah, I was just hanging out in the studio, and then Justin Bieber walked in, and then I'm like, oh yeah, like
Just hanging out in the studio.
largest
Yeah.
musician in the world just
Yeah.
happened to walk into your studio. It's like,
I had
dude,
this
I'm
sweet
not
studio in
buying
my
it,
shed,
but-
and then Justin Bieber showed up, and he's
Yeah.
like, I like this guy. I heard him from
Yeah.
the street. I was just
Yeah,
driving
and
by,
then I'm
like-
gonna bring him on a world tour.
I'm gonna bring him
so
on
it's
tour,
like, that
yeah.
just doesn't happen. So, but it happened,
It
know.
did,
In
yeah.
quotations, it happened. So, and then people get eluded with that, and they think that they can skip the 5 steps that it took.
Yeah.
Is that
I
what they
agree
beat
with that.
they beat themselves up kind of deal, and they deter themselves from wanting to continue?
Well, so I used to run a studio in Barrie, and I'll put it this: I had 40 clients the first year, I had 20 the second year, and I had 5 the third year.
Small.
I
decreases.
lost about, I'd say 20% of them buying their own equipment, thinking that they could do it themselves.
Oh,
They couldn't.
They couldn't. Yeah.
Some of them could. And then the other ones just, oh, bro, I dropped a record. It's like, am I making it look easy? Like, I'm sorry.
sorry.
Am I missing something
Yeah.
here? You're going to drop 1 record and pop when I've dropped 5 and have had,
Still working on it.
monumental success? No, it just doesn't happen like that. So a lot of guys are afraid to put in the work, and patience is
Yeah,
the
that's a
final word.
huge one. Yeah, absolutely. And that's great because I always get a different answer, and that is a different answer. We haven't had that yet.
Before we go to break, I'll give you a shout out to my boy Nibs out in Vancouver because he was a rapper who I went to school with, and he was the guy who kept working at it,
Yeah.
and he released an album after we graduated, and it's a good album, and he's still been releasing, he's been working on new content stuff,
Yeah.
but you got to get that first album out there to get the reception.
It's
to get
important to have a body.
Exactly,
It's-
and he's
drop
got
a
the
single
fan,
and then
and
people got to go listen to the rest of your album. It
Yeah.
is important to have a body of work.
but that patience,
Yeah.
because schooling was 6 years ago,
Yeah.
for me, and
Yeah.
he dropped the album 3, and it's like, that's a while in the difference. in time.
Fanshawe?
Yeah, Fanshawe. Yeah, he
Fanshawe.
was the radio. He was the radio program. So we're back to
Yeah,
2012,
Nibs, that sounds so
13.
familiar.
Nibs, INBZ. Yeah, Jake.
I'll have to look him up on the break. I'll see. I feel like
No
I might
worries,
know,
no
not
worries.
know him,
yeah,
but
maybe,
know of him.
maybe. Yeah, he's a cool
I don't
dude.
know.
Cool dude.
So
You guys
listen,
know each other.
we're coming up to a break here. We got My Direction by Astin Clarke showing up.
Yeah, yeah.
We got Tatted on Me by Meyer Clarity following
Ooh,
up right
shout out to
behind
Meyer
that.
Clarity.
Yeah,
Oh, what's
yeah.
up?
You
We only get
actually-
the best on
you
this.
remind me of him a little bit.
Yeah, me and Meyer are good boys.
You
man.
guys have the same vibe. Okay, that explains a lot because
Yeah,
they kind of
yeah,
act
we
a little similar.
cross a lot of paths.
He's,
in this music scene together. So.
Meyer's like a little bit crazier than you are.
Yeah, he's crazy. he's more punk rock than I am.
Yeah,
that's
I'll
for
give you
sure.
that. I'll give you that. That's a good way to
Yeah.
say it.
Yeah, he's
Listen,
a
we
good
got
dude.
My Direction by Astin Clarke, Tagged It On Me by Meyer Clarity showing up, DriveWire Radio, CFRE, Carter Crawford, Astin. Catch us in a bit. Yo,
We are back.
Yo.
DriveWire.
Yo.
CFR.
Yo.
It's Crawford.
Ric Flair's back.
It's a different Ric Flair this time. It wasn't
Okay,
me.
brother, calm her down.
Oh God, we're gonna have a freaking cage match in this room. We got Ric Flair.
I forgot Mick Foley in the spot.
Oh, Mick Foley.
Wasn't Ric Flair's thing just a screwdriver? Wasn't that a just like screwdriver your face?
I don't know, man.
Looks like he's drank a few screwdrivers.
I know he used to drink a lot, and he used to bang a lot of ladies.
Too, yeah.
and
I was surprised to hear his number. That man was,
I don't know the number, but
it's pretty
probably in
ridiculous.
the thousands.
I think it's like 10,000.
Wow.
It's aggressive.
I mean, that's how
It's
many?
too much.
That's
really.
too much.
It's too much.
You were taking the male,
Yeah.
and we're this. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Listen, that is like Genghis Khan numbers. Like, take over a whole entire.
I'm
village.
taking over the continent of
Hopefully
this
less
country.
forcible with Ric Flair's approach, but
not Bill Cosby style, maybe. Or,
Yeah,
you know,
maybe not
it's-
so much.
Holy crap! Let's move on from that.
get
now.
back.
Yeah, let's get
So we
back.
talked about 5 degrees of separation during the break. We had this chat
Which
about
is
how
huge.
you're one of the coolest things that you can do as an artist is be the easiest person in the room to work with.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Have you ever experienced that? Have you experienced, or maybe the opposite, where someone was a total asshole and you're like, I'm never
I
working
don't
with
wanna
that
work
again?
with-
So
person.
one of my easiest experience working with other artists, Music Ontario did a songwriters challenge edition where they compiled 3 producers, 9 songwriters across 3 days. Every day we rotated to a different studio. We were paired into 3s, and we would switch a producer every day, and we'd make
Let's say different
song,
producer,
a
different
different
place?
song every day, different producer in a different studio. Actually worked with Bijan. He's a producer who produced Ric Flair Drip for Migos. So he was one of the producers. Yeah, so it was amazing to get in to work with him. Director X was another guy. So me, LaToya Jane, and our boy Jarrell Fisher, the 3 of us collaborated on some records. We have one coming out in January.
Nice.
It's called Weekends. Incredible song, and just the experience of getting in with like-minded artists and writing songs together. For
Well, everybody vibes,
the
right?
weekend.
The
It was
connection,
super easy.
yeah.
And yeah, it was interesting how many people I ended up knowing, again, through the 5 degrees of separation of Canadian hip hop. Just the people that everybody already knows. It's a small country
world,
for
man.
being the second largest GPA per capita in the entire planet.
Yeah. We have. It's really interesting. Even like just forgetting Canada, like the whole entire music industry is very little.
Yeah.
So when you do get the opportunity to work with someone, it's imperative to give your best attitude, your best shot. You're not causing arguments. You're actually there to serve the song. You're not. If you're a bassist, you're not playing your bass riffs all over the thing. Maybe you're playing the easiest thing, but it serves the song the most.
Simplicity
Iron
is
Man,
amazing.
you know,
Absolutely.
Simplicity is amazing. Everyone thinks it has to be super technical. It's like, bro,
It's the
songs.
opposite.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. That's
Dumb
why
it down.
AC/DC is so good.
Yeah.
Like they are actually technical. When you analyze their songs, they're using timing and offsetting.
I'd say very good layering, very good.
but they're so
timing.
simple at the
Yeah.
same time, and that's it.
Dude, the Thunderstruck intro, it's only like 11 notes or something, on one string.
Me,
You know?
me, 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 me.
Exactly.
you're gonna start an acapella
Listen,
group
I'm
here.
telling you,
We can do it.
Yeah,
We've debated
I had to
we
do
can
it because
yo.
yeah.
It's like you'll get a CD DriveWire best of the hosts, and
There
we'll
you
each
go.
acapella some songs.
Yeah, you did.
Might
what
be
is Sweet
worst
Child-
of the hosts.
Best of is giving a little best of the game, though. Best of the game.
We've said some pretty ridiculous thing on air, so I think we're gonna like compile a Carter and Crawford make a fool out of themselves video and put it
1 year
together.
anniversary edition
Just
of
all the
fun.
dumbest stuff that we've said in the last 52 weeks.
It's good though. It's good though because we're getting important info out there.
It's good to laugh at yourself.
You know what, man?
Exactly.
It's like I make mistakes, man. I'm not perfect.
Yeah, we
bro.
all make mistakes. We're human, right?
I
You gotta
remember
embrace
I
them.
did an interview in a couple of years ago on Sirius XM, and it was my first radio interview, and I said the word absolutely about 30 times in
Oh, no.
a 10-minute span
Oh.
and didn't notice it at the time. And then I'm listening back,
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
absolutely,
man.
I was just the most agreeable person in the world that day. And, and nobody else caught it until I
Nobody
said it
caught
to
it?
my homie. I was like, did you notice? He's like, what? I was like, I said absolutely about 100 times in about 10 minutes. He's like, no. And then he listens back. He's like, bro, absolutely, I heard that.
Yeah. How could you
Oh
miss
no.
it?
And I was just, what are you gonna do? You laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
You got to,
It's-
man.
Because you nailed the interview and the people loved it.
Yeah.
Because you were so
absolutely.
Absolutely.
I switched it up. Now it's definitely. And I'm just throw like lit and all the.
And for
I'm just gonna
sure,
dab on
for
you guys.
For sure, it's a good
For
one.
sure.
Yeah, I
I'm
just
gonna
dab
mix
a
in.
lot.
I'm gonna mix in a little bit of everything on this.
Start doing some physical actions along with the
that
word
nobody
actions.
can see on radio.
That's why we got the video. We're coming in clutch there.
Check us out at YouTube, man.
YouTube.
DriveWire
Mediums.
Radio. Yo, it's so interesting, like talking about these little words that people throw in because
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Canada, like millennials, is the only place where you hear "yeah, no, for sure."
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
for sure.
In the same sentence though. It's
In
like,
a row, just like
yeah,
that.
no, for sure, bud.
It's like, are you coming? Are you not coming? I don't know. Do I set a plate out for you? Yeah.
Maybe, man. I don't know. I might be there a little
Oh
late.
my gosh, that's amazing,
Gotta
man.
get the dogs out
Yeah,
the
so
shed.
maybe not. Definitely so. It's like, what the fuck did this guy just say?
People try to teach me Toronto lingo, and I'm
The-
just.
There was
I
I
don't
can't
get it,
remember
man.
what it was. It was YEET. I think someone said the
Yeet.
other day. Yeet.
Yeah,
I never
yeet.
heard that one.
It's
And
a
I was
yeet.
like,
That's- I think
what
it's
is
a
that? What
Yeezus
is
thing.
Shout
Oh,
out.
is that what
I
it
think
is?
it's the Kanye.
Shout out to Adam who lives in our house, but whenever
Adam.
he'll just like throw things and yell "yeet" at the same
Yeah.
time, like "yeet," like just whip
one of
something
my
across.
employees
The
Picks
goes-
a flour
she goes-
grease up, smash it on the wall. Yeet. You're like, Adam, you can't break things.
like, why are you doing that?
Why are you doing
my
that?
employee goes rip. I'm like, rips. Yeah, like
Rips?
R.I.P. I'm like,
Like, I'm sorry you're dead. Like, I don't understand.
How
yeah.
old am I right now?
Yeah, there's so much lingo.
So out of
Yeah,
touch.
Dude, we're from. So you're from Barrie, right?
Yeah.
Like we're from Chatham. Do you know
Okay.
Chatham?
I know of Chatham.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
everyone always
Yeah.
knows
It's
of Chatham.
it's just a little farm
Little
town.
farm
Yeah.
town.
But we don't really like the language is kind of behind by like 20 years.
Yeah,
like,
2 decades.
It's just
so they're still saying like sick.
yeah.
They are- we were saying sick in high school, and
Yeah.
that was 10 years ago.
and
Yeah, you guys were
sweet,
forefronts on
Yeah,
that.
and
we led the
like,
revolution.
There you
Really.
go,
Well, I
of
mean, it was
course.
probably there 10 years before that too. Like I
Yeah.
said, 20 years. You know?
Literally is like that.
You guys came in, they were like smashing. You're like, no, that's
No,
dead
that's-
now.
it's dead.
That's been
It's
dead.
sick.
But
Let's
then
get
we
to the
come
team.
up here. We come up here. There's been numerous miscommunications between me and other people because the words like "yeet" and all of this. Like I'm just not. It's not me.
So what
It's-
is yeet? I'm still not sure what that is.
I
I
honestly
can't
don't
tell
know.
you. I
have to
just
Google
the
that.
only
I don't know.
person in my life who uses it is Adam when he whips stuff around. He just throws it,
Yeet,
screams the
yeet.
word, and that's it. So I don't know.
Ooh.
I think it's kind of like a throw or a launch. Like I read
Okay.
someone said they wanted to yeet themselves into the beyond, which I think meant was like commit suicide. Is what they
Yeah,
meant.
that,
Like,
I mean, are you,
you know,
dropping acid, jumping off into the unknown, or you
know.
off
Someone was at
yourself
like a
in the
shot put
shed?
competition, and the guy's just like, "Yeet," and then they're
Yeah,
like,
like,
oh, that's
it's-
dope.
It also
I
could be
don't
one of those
get it,
words with
man.
multiple definitions. I guess.
I
I
don't
don't
get
know.
it.
It's-
Use it in a song. Make it some
There you
lyrics,
go.
man. You know what I mean? Like it's all art, right? It's all art. Dude, I have one that's kind of like a really vague question, but I'm interested to see where you go with it.
Okay.
So like, what is your relationship with music? What is music to you? Right? It's so wide of a.
Honestly, man, it's like the first thing I do when I get up. I throw some music on. When I'm going to sleep, I have some background music going.
Interesting.
Throughout the day, I have music going. It's just like I can't imagine what life would be without it.
Oh.
Creating is a different story for me. Like I got to be in a really good mindset to create. Like I was saying earlier, like I don't like to touch upon topics that are sad love and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. It's like I'll touch upon it, but it's like that's not the.
It's not my focus.
That's not.
Was
the,
that on
the
air? Was that on air?
Or I can't remember.
Oh, you
We
said that.
just
it
had
might have
too
been
much
something
fun.
between,
Just in
but
case
yeah.
it wasn't on air, we actually had this conversation where it was like, dude, like, do you have a message in your music? And Astin said, no, it's more about fun. Like, I just want to
just
party
have
with you.
fun. Like when I worry about life enough when I'm not, trying to
making
create
music, yeah.
So when I go into create, it's like it's an escape from life. So I like to be, making happy music, and I want people to have fun when they listen to my music because that's why I make it.
That's why you make it.
I listen to some sad. I listen to folk music a lot. So Gregory Alan Isaacoff or Donovan Woods. So it's like I still take that kind of that in, but it never is what I'm trying to project out when I'm making my own music.
Yeah.
I'm
And you're
not-
trying to project out having a hell of a good time.
Just having a
Some
good
fun,
time.
man.
Fun, yeah.
for sure.
Everything the boys used to pop about in them in the songs in the early
Yeah.
thousands. It's
Yeah,
this
exactly.
life right
yeah,
now.
exactly.
Yeah, you know what? And I think that there's space for that. Like, as much as like I'm a kind of person who I'm always trying to get something done. I have fun, but I'm also a very serious person at the same time.
Yeah.
But dude, like, I wear people out. Like sometimes people need to just chill out and relax and listen to something that's not trying to get something done. Sometimes I need to sit down and do
Right.
nothing and actually listen and have a good time, and it would help a lot if person making the music was enjoying it. Like,
Yeah,
it comes through, you know?
For sure.
Yeah. So how do you create that vibe in the studio? How do you get into a good place? Yeah.
Alcohol.
Drink something.
Yeah,
Some
alcohol,
drinks, non-alcoholic beer, of course.
Some Baileys, some
some Baileys,
schnapps,
maybe.
some whiskey?
Yeah. We usually it's beer, and then once the record's done, we pop some prosecco.
Okay.
That's been the move.
Whoa.
Some smoking as well. A little bit of the herb.
Of the cannabis.
I mean,
the
it's
legal
persuasion,
cannabis.
legal. We
yeah.
can
it's
say
legal.
it.
We can
It's
say it.
completely legal.
Justin Trudeau, shout out Liberal government,
Yeah.
2015 or whatever.
We'll stay away from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so and a lot of it is, we'll sit there and he'll be like, "What are you listening to right now?" And then we'll put it on the record, kind of catch a vibe, and then from there he'll pick a tempo that's similar to what we were just listening to. Usually picks a major chord. Sometimes we'll do minor and a little bit of contrast on it, but
Yeah.
nonetheless,
Go from there.
we'll go from there. And we just
Build it.
write. He goes upstairs after he's got a good structure of the beat done. He'll cook dinner for the wife and his beautiful daughter, and then I'll join them. And then after he puts her to bed, and we really get into it. We really dive into the sauce, and then we start recording. And once it's done,
Yeah.
that-
How
that
do
Prosecco
your
opens.
producer is your manager, right?
He is,
And
he
you
is.
like him.
I love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a good relationship with this
Great
guy.
relationship. I'm headed to his house actually right after this.
Oh,
Right
give
on,
him a
right
shout
on,
out
shout
from us,
out.
man.
Atwell, I will,
Please,
for
please.
sure.
Shout out
yeah.
Atwell.
Shout out to Atwell.
Let's
yeah.
get him on air, man. Tell him we're hilarious and
Actually,
we'll have a conversation.
he would be a great person to have on.
Let's
here.
do it,
yeah.
He's got a
Let's get
great
him.
business sense in music and in life in general. So.
Love it. There
Right
it is.
on.
Another
We'll
guest.
line it up.
Right
There
on.
you
Let's
go.
line him up.
Perfect.
We're like
Yeah.
booked up till 2025, I think, so we'll get you on.
Beautiful.
something
I
like
heard
that.
2026, but
Oh,
I
okay,
got to
okay.
check the
Yeah, no
schedule.
worries,
My
no
bad.
worries. I'll be,
My bad.
70.
See you
It's
guys
like
in
6
8 years.
Yeah,
from now.
yeah.
We are already booked until when we're gonna have children. Those children might have children too. So
Wow.
Have you
it's the future.
have you ever kicked someone out of the studio for being not cool?
It's happened to me a couple times here. It's crazy,
Not really. So when me and Al are in the spot, it's just in his basement.
So it's
just
just you
him
guys.
and
Just
him
them.
and I. When I ran my studio in Barrie, still no.
Did you ever have to keep anybody line? Like tell them, like, look, man, we're in a studio. Be mature about it. Like we're trying to make music.
I
or-
had one dude who it was his birthday, and he wanted to have him and a couple of homies come through and just shoot the shit, do some freestyling, and wanted to record it and just
Have a good time.
Just have a good time. So 8 of them came through,
That's not a
And-
homies. That's a bus.
and yeah, it was.
Yeah, I got
there
a
was nothing
minivan
wrong, like,
coming.
nobody broke anything or anything, but it was just
A lot of
just a
people.
lot of people in the studio. There was a lot of background noise, but that was the nature of the record that we were trying to do. So
Okay,
it was
cool.
just kind of thrown together. I've had people that were hard to work with and that I kind of refused to work with after a certain point, but
Afterwards.
never did I stop a session and
Yeah.
refuse to do it because I know how artists are.
They're there to have a good time, right?
Well,
That's-
not everybody.
Oh,
Some
no.
people are really serious about it, and
That's totally
You
me.
know,
I'll be
this-
honest with you, that's this guy.
Yeah.
yeah, so which is fine. I have
Which
no problem
totally.
being serious about it as well.
You
I'll
get
try
the-
to, I'll
you get
match
good work.
the energy that the person's trying to portray, but never have I not finished a session. I've wanted to, but I've barreled through it.
They paid me. We're committed. We're gonna get
yeah,
this, and
I have actually refunded somebody their money after
really?
and told them I didn't want to work with them, but yeah.
because they still had another session.
They
maybe,
had some
or-
instrumentals paid for that they felt entitled to record over because they had paid for them. Not that those two go hand in hand, but I produced the beat and then was
Yeah.
going to record the record for them. And then I was like, "Okay, I'll send you the $150 back, and
Yeah, you just don't-
best
won't
of luck.
use my,
best
yeah,
of luck."
music,
And then
yeah.
in Barrie, there's only a handful of studios, so
Good luck.
best of luck means you're going to have to travel now.
Yeah, because I know people, and I mean,
I'm gonna tell them straight
talk.
up.
I'm gonna
don't,
talk. I'm gonna be
don't
honest.
do this. Yeah,
you
and
know?
the small world in the music scene.
5
Yeah.
degrees,
Word gets
boiling
around,
down
man.
to the 3
Yeah.
degrees, as kind of we had mentioned there.
Yeah.
You know, it's there's less and less people being involved because the people that are in the hierarchy power are more. You know, there's smaller circles,
Yeah.
more power.
I can literally not emphasize that point enough to somebody who's really trying to win. Like, there's a guitarist who I have a lot of regard for. His name's Phil X. You know who Phil X is?
No.
He's like the fill-in guy for Bon Jovi's
Oh,
band.
cool.
Like he's insanely well off now, but the dude even today still carries his own amps and guitars in. he still like rolls his stuff out of his
no
car.
guitar tech for him.
Nothing, man. He's like, I'm here to
He's his own.
work.
Yep.
And so, and he's always been like that. He doesn't have this stuck-up attitude about him. He's literally made it. He's an incredible guitarist. If you don't know who Phil X is, type
Check him
Phil
out.
X into YouTube and just watch him. He's ridiculous. But this guy who plays like that is going to carry his own stuff, and you're going to show up and not?
Yeah.
I'll call him back 10 out of 10 times. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So how can you add the value? How much funnier can you be? Like, it sounds ridiculous, but we have people in studio all day long saying creating is about a vibe. And if you can be hilarious, you're creating the vibe.
the vibe.
That will get you called back just as much as you being able to play a C sharp minor, whatever in any inversion.
So it's funny. We were at New School Rules in Rotterdam. I was with D.L. Gibson, my tour manager type deal. Because he runs Northern Power Summit, he was a part of a speed dating thing where people would just go around and they would get to ask a few questions.
Nice.
And I was kind of sitting near him. I had gone through the room already. And somebody goes, "What are you looking for?" And he goes, I just have to like you. And that's really true because he brings around about 6 of us that tour together, and we all get along because once he vouches for you, you know that it's like you don't have to rate that person because he's already done that. He's done that homework for you.
Yep.
If he says, this is
good.
my artist,
This good.
that's good person, right?
Yep.
That's good people. And when he vouches for you, you have this like
Credibility.
You
Yeah.
have to be credible
Yeah.
for what
You
you
gotta
do and
live up
say
to
when
that.
you're on
You
tour.
are that
You
person.
can't be an asshole on tour to anybody around you, any of the
Yeah.
bartenders, anybody, because his ability to build relationships is insane. We were at the airport in Amsterdam and got into the top private lounge just because he remembered the person at the front desk's name from like
Whoa.
a few years before.
Whoa.
And just he remembers everybody, doorman's name, the bartender's name.
I wish I
the
got that
owner's
kind of
name.
treatment at the hospital. I mean, I
Dude,
remember
he's a
everybody used to
he's
deal
a
with there.
savant,
Like,
man.
God.
He's a savant. It's insane. And it just really taught me how important relationships are.
Definitely.
Because you can be the dopest rapper in the world, but if nobody likes you, you're not going anywhere.
Man,
'Cause
so
you're
it's-
going to need somebody's help at some point.
It's like, I hate to say, but it's like Lil Wayne
That's
in
a
that
good
Blink
point.
182 concert, that whole series that was supposed to happen this summer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that fell
Quickly fell
like
through.
within a couple shows at
Yeah.
the beginning of the tour.
Yeah.
It was already out that Lil Wayne's a diva little biatch,
Yeah.
and he's not easy
I
to
think-
work with, and it's like,
I
You know?
think it was magnified because he might have been touring with rappers,
I mean-
who got like a rider as long as his ego, but then he gets in
Yeah.
with like Blink 182 and they're like, "Oh, you guys don't have great crush, like we don't care, whatever."
Yeah.
And then Lil Wayne walks in and he's just, "You guys don't flex
you
the
don't have
table."
red Skittles in a bowl? Like, what? I'm
What
out
is
of
this
here.
Purple Skittle
Yeah,
doing? You
like
guys
purple
colorblind?
Skittles,
What?
man, yeah.
I love purple Skittles personally.
I'm colorblind. I don't know what purple even
No,
is. You
no.
know, I kind of,
This
I have
green
an
room- This
idea.
green room just throws you then,
This
eh?
green room is
I like
it's
gray.
bright.
I bet you it looks yellow to you.
It actually, depending on the light, it's like pretty yellow.
Yeah,
I
I'm
will
telling
admit
you.
it's pretty
so,
yellow.
So I love Forza. I love racing games, and
yeah.
Crawford and I will be talking about Forza. And there's a brake line that most people use in Forza, and it goes from yellow when you're doing fine and red to if you're going too fast. And Crawford can't see that.
I tried to race it today, and I was just
He
blowing
can't- he
corners
can't
'cause
see
I
the
can't
difference.
gauge the
He doesn't know when
speed.
to
I don't
slow
know what I'm
down.
supposed to do.
Yeah.
Can't you hear it though? It's like,
I can hear the motor, but then I also hear the wall as I hit it. You know, so it's like I
It's like,
can't.
I'm pretty sure you're redlining.
Yeah, I can't. I gotta work at it.
Can you
I gotta work at
slow
it.
it down a little bit?
You're not supposed to hit the corner 150, bro. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't know.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Good for you. So I have another question.
Okay.
Where were you when you decided to actually really take it seriously, right? Like probably at age 12 when you started writing, you were like, damn it, this is forever. Or was it that for you?
So my first show that
Oh,
I had
he's
ever
getting
done.
serious. The
He's
hat
serious.
came
The
off.
hat
He's
came
getting
off momentarily,
serious.
guys. You know, is
I gotta fix the hair every 2 seconds. The first show that I ever did was my cousin and brother. They were doing First Kings. They were opening for Classified in Barrie. So that was my first event at the age of 18. Wasn't even really allowed in the bar yet, but was able to go
got
in
in?
and perform. I got in, yeah. Actually, it might have been an all ages show, nonetheless. So after that, 500 people for your first event. And then a few years later, I opened for Red and Meth in Barrie. That was 1,000.
We're talking Redman
and Mad Method Man.
Whoa,
yeah, so
that's
from
huge.
Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang
Yeah, I actually opened for
boys.
Ghostface as well when
Really?
he came through. Yeah, so She Glooch and Ghostface.
Almost
did
every
Wu
member of the
Block.
Wu-Tang has got to open for. So it's only those last couple
I
left,
need
right?
Raekwon.
Yeah.
And you got it.
You got
and then
it.
the Rizzes and the Jizzes, and then I'll be happy. But I did She Glooch, She Glooch and Ghostface did Wu Block. So I opened for them in Barrie as well. Lloyd Banks back in the day.
Twista too.
Twista back in the day as well. So
You got our senior management commenting in the back. Like, you're impressing the people
so
here.
I-
This is
and that was
insane.
like
The senior management.
there you go.
Yeah,
This is
that's
our guy.
Dom.
Yeah.
That's
That's
the guy
Dom.
that
That's
I'm
Dom.
always chirping. That's the senior management
So,
that we're
yeah,
talking about.
after doing all of things like that, it just seems more plausible at that point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's still crazy, but it's more plausible. And
Yeah.
then the little accolades, the Sprite deal.
Yeah.
Sprite deal
We were
is
talking
just-
before that I was up for the Hyundai commercial as well.
Yeah.
Off another record off
Yeah.
of the Love and Self-Loathing album. From 12 contestants down to 2, we didn't make it, but nonetheless, it's just like those little things that keep reminding you. It's just like, hey,
Kinda
you're
make-
doing
it's kinda make
something
you
right.
believe.
You're doing something right. Just keep going, and
It's working. People are noticing.
Yeah, couldn't stop if I wanted to. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
I'm giving you a fist bump for that. Telling the whole
Fist
audience.
bumps all
Oh,
around.
2 fist
all
bumps.
around. You got a 4-finger fist bump. That's a good one.
That is. This guy's
Good
missing
one.
an entire finger.
Good
See
man.
that? He's like got Simpsons hands.
I did explain it to him earlier,
It's the
but we were
weirdest thing ever, man. It's the weirdest thing. Listen, we've been giving out throat coat tea. We've been giving out throat coat tea. What's the actual company? Can I give them a shout? Traditional Medicinal. It sounds like a 420 company.
It sounds 420-ish,
I'm
but
not
it's
gonna
not.
lie.
It's
Traditional Medicinal sounds very 420-ish to me, but it's not. It's actually they have a remarkable amount of different teas that are out there. They were really kind enough to send us 12. I think they actually sent coupons, right? Is that what?
Coupons
so they sent
redeem. You can
coupons to
redeem a tea of any kind
yeah,
on the website.
we highly recommend Throat Coat Tea. That's what was recommended by Devin Moody from Twin Rova. It's what's been out there, and we just want to give thanks to Traditional Medicinal. I'm saying their name a bunch of times. So hopefully you guys,
Medicinal.
like if you
Thank
see
you.
it, if you want something like that, if you're looking for high quality teas, guys, check out Traditional
up.
Medicinal. Check out Throat Coat Tea. The last 3 winners we got Freddie at It's Freddie. What's up, Freddie?
What's up, Freddie?
We got Jacqueline at Jackie Bob.
Jackie.
And we got Ian at Ian Archer _WLW from Words Like Wildfire.
My boy
I mess
Ian.
that up every single time.
He always does.
Sorry, boys. I really don't mean to do that to you. So those are the last 3. Thank you to Traditional Medicinal. We really, really appreciate it here at DriveWire. If you ever want to give anything away again, please let us know, and we'll be happy to take care of you on that one.
I think I think we also might be giving away something after. We can't say it's on the social. Check the social.
Check
kinda
the social.
cause that drive
Check
on
the social.
It's a good
As of
giveaway.
today, yeah.
As of today, we got some cool stuff.
It's something you're gonna want to check out.
Yeah, we'll have another thing up on probably Instagram, up on YouTube, up on anything like that. We're going to go to our
Facebook,
final break. Let
definitely.
me get who we're going to. We're going to go to Never. Is that Tezu? I'm saying that right. We're going by Never to Tezu
Tezu.
and chosen by KO.
KO. Shout out to
Yeah, it's
KO.
gonna be
I
sweet.
love you guys.
Yeah,
got good
okay.
music.
I'm telling
me and
you,
KO were in
man.
the studio last year, maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah?
That's crazy.
So
great guy,
our
yeah,
music
great guy.
is we try to keep our music relevant to our guests. So
Yes.
obviously every
That's
break
working.
every
Tom's
break we've
doing it.
gone to, he's
You
like,
guys
oh
are
yeah,
handsome.
that, oh
Great
yeah,
artist.
that.
Oh,
yeah.
So it's good, man. Coming up next, we got a couple pages here written down of
a
recap.
lot.
It's gonna
It's
go
a
into a
lot.
hell of a good
Cool, man.
conversation. You
Can't
got
wait.
Carter, you got Crawford, you got Astin Clarke. Astin, sorry, man.
Astin.
Okay, it's very common. People
I was
like throwing
Austin Martin,
People
Ashton
like throwing the
Martin.
U in there.
I've been
That's
saying it
common.
the whole
Astin.
time correctly, and I
You're
said
good,
Austin
yeah.
this time, man. My bad. Astin Clarke.
All good.
Astin. Check us out. Yo, what's going on? What's going on? Hopefully you guys can hear us. My name is Carter. We got Crawford. We got Astin Clarke, not Austin Clarke. Don't say Austin. They'll make you feel bad during the break. Just saying, just saying.
okay.
So listen, man, thank you for showing up.
Yeah, thanks
All
for
right?
having
You
me.
taught me a lot. You
Back.
gave us some interesting heads up. Sorry. So Dom and Fran, the DriveWire boys, they left. The head
They
management
laughed at me, and
And
30 seconds got me really quickly.
That 10 seconds that we had in silence was our fault
was
entirely.
my bad.
But,
My bad,
You know what I
guys.
mean? If you want it done right, you freaking
do
do
it
it yourself.
And usually that would apply to me, and knock on wood it didn't today.
Listen, so I'm gonna recap what I just learned from my man Astin here. So I love that you didn't say it like this, but you said, look, we all doubt, so you have to push through, you have to keep going. And one way that I've heard that said before is you have to grow through what you go through.
Yes.
You have to grow through what you go through.
What you go through.
Yeah, grow through what you go. So the idea is like, look, man, like it's gonna get hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the reality is it's hard for Rihanna and Justin Bieber and John Mayer too. Like it's not.
It's probably so
It's
hard.
not
I was gonna
just
say it's
happening to you.
amplified when it gets
Exactly.
bigger
Yeah.
like that, for sure.
Paparazzi alone will make you want to just.
Man.
And as you get further up in the pyramid of leadership, you have more to do and you have less rights. You know what I mean? So you have to really be doing it from the beginning. You have to. I was talking to a guy today, and he called me and he wanted to know how to start a radio show, and I had a conversation with him while I was driving, and I told him, lift the little weights like they're big weights.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're gonna do squats and you're starting with just the bar, do them perfectly. So by the time you're huge, you don't have to fix your, you know what I mean? You don't have to fix
Posture.
your posture.
Yep.
So,
Which, let me tell you, sucks when you got a bad.
Yeah, that's
It's,
true.
I got bad posture.
Crawford's all smashed
I'm
up.
all smashed, and I can't fix that posture. I try.
That's true,
And it
man.
sucks. But
Yo,
you got to lift the big weights.
little
Little
weights
weights, like, well, you don't lift the big weights like they're big weights too, but lift the little weights like they're big weights.
No, exactly.
Because you're
So
going to
then-
get further.
and you
everyone.
can build the
You're
habits
stronger.
so that when the big
Habit.
weights come, you're already prepared.
You're ready.
Sign the documents up front. Like if you're going into a partnership deal and you know that, okay, maybe there's actual money because we're actually talented, let's sign a 50-50 split right now. There's no money involved. There's no
money.
pressure. Let's just do it. But
do
that
it.
way you don't get
We have the
screwed
agreement.
on the back end. Someone says, no, I deserve 70. No, I deserve. If you just have it done, it's done.
Songsplit.com.
That's it. Songsplit.com.
Songsplit.com.
That's
Yeah,
sweet. We'll have to
that's-
reach out to them.
yeah,
I haven't heard of that.
maybe-
Yeah, it's you hop in, who did what, composer, who wrote, and it's
Breaks all the information down for
all
you.
pretty straightfortable. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
wow,
awesome,
cool.
man.
I
I,
like
love
that.
that.
I'll check that out.
That's
Yeah.
really, really good advice. Songsplit.com. I'm actually
Yeah.
going to write that down.
Definitely.
Songsplit.com.
Dot.
I'm going to check that out because
C-O-M.
I've heard so many horror stories of people who go
Oh.
through and they didn't
Yeah.
think it's going to be huge, and then the song pops, and then they're all like fighting over what's left.
Well, now I got 25 producers to pay and I don't get any money.
It's
Or
a really
people
good
that
way.
don't understand the whole publishing versus masters. It's like you fought for your masters, but didn't pay attention to your publishing,
Yeah.
and that's where you really.
And someone
I
else
do
has
have
all of it.
I do have a comment about that may be current right now because I believe I read it. If I remember correctly,
Yeah.
it was about a month or two ago. It was that new Izzo or Lizzo girl.
Yes.
She had kind of popped up literally out of nowhere overnight.
Yeah.
And I remember reading an article that she has gotten such a huge fame, but when she signed everything, she
didn't know that.
kind of didn't know anything, and she
Yep.
gave away everything that she could have
Yep.
possibly.
So
made.
can you imagine as the listener, if you've heard DriveWire radio and you sit down and you read a document and you understand, so this is my second point here, there are two different layers of rights to your music. There's a publishing rights and there's a recording master's rights. And you one is for this specific recording. One is for the written song and all the chords that go with it. So if you have an accompaniment, if you have publishing rights, and then someone uses your song anywhere else, even if they recorded their own version, you have the right to say, no, that's mine. Here's my rights.
And you can still make money off of covers. It's very lucrative making money from covers,
Yeah.
but it's more lucrative for the person that wrote and
That's,
composed.
I just
Exactly.
discovered a YouTuber the other day who that's literally how he made millions of dollars and
Yep.
got famous 8 years ago. Is he just started making covers? He
Yep.
made his own works to
Yep.
it, but he made covers.
Yep.
And he did these
Okay,
stupid
yeah.
little videos to him. But guess what? People love stupid things. Of
course.
And then now he's rich.
Look
you
at
know?
Donald Trump.
I was going to say, is that why everyone loves me? Like, is that,
That's why I'm so loved.
hey,
okay. Woo!
Ric
It's
Flair.
familiar. It's familiar.
Listen,
What it
brother,
is.
we gotta keep this rolling. Okay, to those who have everything, more shall be given. I wrote that because we were talking about how you get the publishing deal. Like, all it takes is one. So you get this deal, and then all of a sudden, you're on this Sprite commercial with LeBron James.
Yeah.
But
Boom.
then people, now you're heard by more people.
You're taken more seriously when you have accolades to back
Yeah.
up what you're
Definitely.
doing.
I mean, it's LeBron James
For sure.
commercial.
It's-
You're not just going to use anybody. You're
know,
going to get the best of the best.
I casually throw it into pitches when I'm trying to do something just because it still holds weight.
Definitely.
And it always will.
And it definitely always
for
will,
Sure.
yeah.
Like I'm
5
trying to
years
get
from
on
now.
a show in Barrie, you know, Rich the Kid was coming through. Unfortunately, they're not having local openers, but I you know, reached out, and that's a part of my pitch is, you know, I'm on the license. My music is on the licensing deal with Sprite. It's in a Sprite commercial with LeBron because it'll open a door for you that if there's two guys up for the song or for the show, and I'm one of them and the other one is just dope.
I'm
gonna
get it. I'm gonna go for
it's
you.
It's probably
over there.
gonna be me. You know, if our numbers are the same and everything else is the same, and it comes down to what have you actually done?
You got the spotlight.
It's gonna help.
It's
definitely gonna help.
Man.
Never gonna hurt.
That's it. And I love that, man. And it takes. It's so hard for someone who's about to pop to understand that they're about to pop. Like you have no sign. There is no one who's gonna say, "Dude, just keep going. You're really close." You have to. That's you.
You got to tell yourself that. Yeah.
So but when you break through even a little bit, breaking through a little bit further is actually easier now.
Yeah.
Same thing. Who's the band that came through that won the Rock Search? What was their name? Sorry, guys.
Jailbirds? I mean,
No.
Oh, you mean in studio that came?
Yeah.
Drop Top Alibi.
Thank you, man. The guy,
The guy with the brain injury. He's
Remember?
got the retaliation.
Okay, so Drop Top Alibi said the exact same thing. They're like, look, man, our emails wouldn't even get open before, and now we just put Rock Search 2019 winners, and now they're opening. So it's huge, but they wouldn't. How would they have known to even go into the concert, into the competition?
Yeah.
You have to be that for yourself, man. I love that. So another one you said is, look, have patience and just don't stop.
Yeah.
I love that, man. If you're still have the motivation, if it hasn't dried up like bread in the sun, like Crawford mentioned.
It sucks when it dries up.
It does.
It's real
You
bad.
don't want
Hungry
stale
over
bread.
You're gonna be hungry. You're gonna be real hungry.
Then a nap.
Then a nap, yeah, and maybe a little bit of something.
It's funny because I caught Crawford napping today before we got to the show. Don't worry about it.
I'm proud of you.
I love the.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, there's a handshake for a nap. You guys are ridiculous, man. You guys are ridiculous.
We're men.
Yeah.
Men love to nap.
You will grow if you persist. Okay, like this is something that a lot of people that I talk to, I can hear it in their conversation that they don't believe this, but this is a law. It's not me making this up for you. If you keep your attention on something and you actually try, you will get better.
If you put your heart into it, you're not gonna get worse.
Dude,
You won't get worse.
It's
You can get
literally
worse
wrong.
over time if you stop putting your heart into it. But it's like if you again genuinely like what you do and you keep doing it, you're gonna get better.
Yes,
it's inevitable.
And then even that little bit of getting better will make your next getting better a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And then a little bit easier and a little bit easier. And then eventually you're at a point where other people are saying, damn, man, how did you even how could I get there? Yeah. And you're looking at yourself like, well, I just grew a little layer like a tree, like just a layer. And all of a sudden you have so many layers that you're the big fish in the pond, skill-wise. And that leads to things like management and your marketing side and your team and having a licensing deal. But it's because you didn't stop and you kept your attention and you used it's literally the law of attraction. If you keep your attention on it, especially with high emotional intensity, you will get better. Yep. And I love that you brought that up, man. I love that. Sure. Here's a line that I didn't even paraphrase. No one should be able to convince you to quit. I think you actually said, if someone can convince you to quit, you're the wrong person for the job.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. He's a drummer in
Wedding Crashers.
No, it's a classical. It's a classical school, and he's a drummer.
Give him to the Greek.
Oh, man.
We got brains firing, but nobody's thinking of it.
Whiplash. Okay, if you're a musician and you haven't seen Whiplash, watch the movie.
Fantastic.
It's incredible. So absolute 10 out of 10.
I won't even lie. I stole that line from Whiplash.
Yeah.
But it's wholeheartedly true. It's true.
It's a true line.
It's wholeheartedly true. Like, if somebody can convince you to stop doing what you think that you love, you didn't love it in the first place.
Yeah.
And that's because he's such an asshole to every one of his students, and then they fire the teacher, and he goes, well, this program's going to be garbage now because it's going to be somebody that'll coddle all the kids. Like, I want to be famous. It's like, oh, you got it. It's like, not everybody has it. And if somebody can convince you that you don't, you didn't have it for sure. So
see, that makes me think of the School of Rock, where Jack Black came in and he's like, "I'm gonna make you all rock stars."
I'm not cool enough.
Yeah, but you are, my friend. You know, like,
sure.
and
the bee's knees.
But it is, Ben. It is just having the drive and not being, like you said,
Yeah.
you gotta want to do it to make
unwavering
you do it.
is just
you
can't be wavered.
That's it, man. It's exactly it. I love that. I wrote a really bad word, so I'm going to cross this one out and replace it with this one. You will need help at some point, so don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's where I'm going with that one. So
Yep.
you got to, you actually cannot just be an asshole.
No.
You have to be cooperative to a certain level because
You have to be able to work with people.
look, man, if you think someone is making moves in the industry and they don't have a team, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
That's not true. They
That's
have
why
a team.
I haven't been able to make moves in the industry because I don't have a team.
Dude, you
That's
do
gotta be
now.
it. But I do, and that's why we're making moves on the industry.
Ah,
See what I did there? It was
yeah,
full circle, my
okay,
friend.
okay.
Knuckle
I like
bump,
looking
full
at,
circle. Okay, knuckle bump, Niffin. No, I'm just
okay,
gonna.
sorry,
he
buddy.
looked away as soon as it happened.
It
I'm
was
like, I can't let that
it was
happen.
behind the.
Yeah, it was hidden.
Yeah,
it was a hidden
I like
knuckle.
referencing Russ in this situation because
Oh,
he's so
interesting.
big on producing, singing, and then mixing and mastering. He's like, I do it all myself, da 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 da. And then I always thought in the back of my head, I'm like, because he always seemed to be talking down on anybody that didn't do it themselves, and it's just you're less than. It's
You're
like,
less than me
okay,
because
so
I do it all.
hold on, do you have to be your own entertainment lawyer too? Do you do your own graphics? Do you shoot your own videos? It's
Are
like,
you
where
your
does
own
it
doctor
stop?
as well?
Where does, yeah,
You know?
yeah. I just broke my leg. Okay, so you're your own
You're gonna
medic
help me, right?
contour
'Cause you know
too?
what you're doing, yeah.
Where does it stop?
Yeah.
And it's like if you
Yep.
can't ask for help, then I honestly don't think
Yeah.
you're gonna get it. And if you're talented enough to do it yourself, hats off to you.
Good
but
for you. But
but
then
ask
even
for help.
but
It's
even
gonna be a
then
lot easier.
even if you're talented enough to do everything yourself, you will be moving as a one-person team 20 to 30 times slower than even
Slower.
a 5-person team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna get overwhelmed. You're gonna not be able to keep everything in line. There's gonna be so much to do for your actual booking tour dates and figuring out the money and the bookkeeping and the accounting and figuring out who's paying who and when and figuring out all your teammates and the people on the band
not
and the people on the
possible.
tour and the
It's
people.
not-
And
that's
it's just
not possible.
You could be good at 5 things, but you can't be fantastic.
fantastic.
And perfect
You just
at
can't.
everything.
You can't.
It's like
It's not possible.
It's literally not if you're a people person, the chances you're a paper person are very low.
Yeah.
And
I'm
vice
a people
versa.
person. I hate paper.
Yeah.
You know?
That's where it
I
is.
recycle,
too many
man.
paper cuts.
That's
Too
it.
many paper cuts. I already lost a finger with a paper cut. Yeah.
That's a big ass paper cut.
It's a big one, man. It was construction paper. You know when a construction paper hits, it's like, oof, that's a big one.
They're joking
limbs
about
out
his missing pinky. That's why they're fucking laughing. That's why
I
they're
like
laughing.
to have fun with
Yeah,
it.
pinky in the brain. There
In
you
the
go.
brain, man. This is my brain.
Here's one that you didn't say, but I read between the lines that you do.
Yeah.
And I just put get into your life
Yes.
because you're a musician. And I'm like, well, what is music to you? And you're like, well let's slow down here.
Slow down.
I get up and I put music on, and then I'm listening to music,
All
and then
day.
I'm vibing to it, and
All
then
day.
I'm figuring out what I like, and I'm still listening to folk to incorporate that into my
Yeah.
music, and then you even said, and I heard this, you're like, and I even put it on when I'm sleeping, and I know
Yeah.
that's a sign of a serious person who's listening to it when they sleep.
It's crazy.
Because I listen to stuff when I sleep, and
Yeah.
I know how serious I am. And it's. Again, to those who have more, everything shall be given. When you put yourself into the time frame of the mindset of I am going to do this, the creative flow when you're trying to be creative is multiplied by 10.
Yeah.
At least.
And another thing is trying to force being creative is the worst thing
Can't
you
do
can
it.
possibly do.
I don't think you
I
can
think
force
people would be
creative,
surprised
you
on
know?
how often I actually write music. I think it's because I've been writing since I was 12, where it's like I don't
So
feel the
long.
need to flex my pen as much anymore. It's like if I'm writing, I'm in the mood. What I'm writing is probably going to stick. It's probably going to end up on a record, with a couple of tweaks and
couple
edits.
tweaks,
But
little minor
nonetheless, it's like
changes.
I'm not going to lock myself into a room and not go out and live life, because then you'll have no inspiration
say
if
there's
you
no-
don't get out and live life. If you
Yeah.
just try to sit and create in a studio, you're gonna be writing some boring ass songs.
It's gonna sound like
'Cause
a
it's gonna be
dark room.
These walls are green. There's some black soundproofing on them. It's like you're gonna run out of stuff to talk
I'm sitting
about.
here by myself, afraid with the pen in my hand. I can't write. You know, it's
You're
like
gonna run
because
out-
you're not
You gotta
doing
love.
something.
You gotta lose, man. You
Well,
gotta hurt.
I mean,
you gotta,
dude, Raz is a perfect example because he just did this a couple weeks ago. He took a weekend trip up to Algonquin Park just to be disconnected from technology,
Yeah.
to be connecting with nature. And he wrote an entire album, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Raz, I do apologize if I'm misspeaking, but I'm almost positive your Instagram post said you wrote almost an entire album.
Crazy.
And that's just disconnecting from the world, essentially, because
Yeah.
the world, we can argue, the world is so technology, everything all the time.
Well, and it's
connecting
hard
with
to
that.
not let it influence you either.
Exactly, because it's all things trying to change your mind constantly,
Yeah.
trying to influence you regarding a Pepsi or a Coke or Arrow over O. Henry or something like that, you know?
And I feel like that's what actually really not sparked my rebranding, but put pressure on me to kind of change what I'm doing. You know, they say Einstein said, you know, you do the same thing, expect a different
Definition of
result,
an
you're
idiot.
insanity.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I wanted to rebrand. And a lot of people assume that it's because I was falling victim to what was popular, and I was just trying to chase something that was. It's like I like popular music.
Yeah.
I like top 40. So it's like it wasn't a jump for me to go from more of an underground style to more of a mainstream style. But you can't let that influence you.
No, it's true. And that's,
You have to use it as an influence, but you
Yeah.
can't let it influence
I say you have to use it because we can't deny everything that's happening now. This is what works. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
But use that to influence what
For sure.
you can create more of an impact.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
We're good.
I'm
It's-
calling.
Cool.
That's not all I learned, but that's all I'm going with for now. So you got
We've
you
already
got
filled a
enough.
hefty chunk.
We
of
filled a
time.
hefty chunk.
Thank you
of
for
time.
listening, all the listeners. We appreciate you.
Yes, we genuinely do. And
Everyone
if there's
online,
so,
everyone in the hallway.
So I want to extend this option. Like, if there are people that you would like to see in this guest chair, if there are people who you have questions about how to actually succeed artistically, if there are people who you want in, if there are questions you have for our next guest, if there's anything like that, this is a platform that is designed to be open door. Like, you please reach out to us.
Facebook,
connect
hit
with
us up.
Facebook,
Send us an
Instagram, like
Instagram
even YouTube.
message.
Like, we are on that. We're available to
Yep.
it. And if there's again somebody that you want to see or hear or do or whichever,
We'll make it
freaking
happen.
hit us.
We will
up,
try and
man.
make it happen.
I mean, we'll try and make it
We're
happen.
not
I want
magicians.
Eminem. It's like, oh, okay.
But the reality
We
is,
will get 50 Cent,
Yeah.
but we can't get Eminem. I'm sorry, we can't.
might
do
get
it.
Tony Yayo
if
in
we
here.
Awesome.
if we had enough demand, I think we could do it.
Dude, we could
but
do it.
we gotta grow it. We gotta grow
We
it.
got to grow it. We'll grow
So,
it.
so we're coming
Grow
up with
before
the
we
end.
show
We're
it.
coming up with Fast Lane by Bad Meets Evil. This has
This
been
is it.
DriveWire
This is it.
Radio.
Speaking of-
Carter, Crawford, and my man Astin Clarke.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
so much for tuning
Thanks
in.
for
Catch
having
us
me, guys.
next week. Yeah, thanks for showing up,
Hey,
man. I
thank
really
you for
learned
being
a
here,
lot.
man.
and-
Thank you for the conversation.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Catch
And
us
as
next
always,
week, guys.
take care, folks.
5 p.m. CFRE DriveWire Radio.
Bye-bye.